but it's what do you believe? How are you planning on using these things? And so, and the use of those things is by agreement. So I started off talking a little bit about prayer and changing the way we pray to be inclusive of mystery without labeling it, because the label can be misleading. And then I moved to the relationship between triumph and what I'm terming, inner peace arts, which is this whole kind of structure that's come to me, and relating it to education and power. But one of the things that, in talking about religion, is that, the things that, you're not supposed to talk about, religion, politics, and sex. Those are actually the three most powerful things that happen in your life, and determine so much about what you do. I mean, we went to a wedding last night, and then I got home, and then it's just, sometimes you just have these realizations that, you probably should have had when you were 12, and that and as you realize this whole wedding is a kind of like, is a public celebration and control of sexuality, right? And it's like, whoa, but you can't talk about it like that. It's supposed to be a momentous and joyous occasion, and but that's what it is. And then you think about all these other things you see. It's like I remember one time somebody had said to me that regarding sexuality and the public-private issue thereof. It's like, if you see any person, that person is the result of sexuality. So it can't possibly be that private, right? And there's all these kinds of things that are put around it. So I mentioned that to say that these are the kinds of conversations to start to have, to normalize where the power is, and talking about it. Talking about religion as what really drives what you do. It drives, it drives who you're going to decide to talk to. It decides your value system. It decides, your attitudes. It decides how you use your car, right? I mean, for instance, and this is really the power of agreement. When you have a car accident on the highway, you have not just messed up your day. You've probably messed up the day of all of those thousands of people that now have to wait because and I'm not saying you have a car accident on purpose. What I'm saying is our ability to follow those rules allows for a certain kind of fluidity in our lives. And so, and these are all religious. There's nothing on that road that's stopping you from crossing that dotted white line. You can go back and forth as much as you want, but there's a kind of acknowledgement that following this rule is going to be better for me and for you. And that's an example of what I would call a kind of a life-affirming rule. No one's, you are not worse off by following those guidelines. And so one of the other things I wanted to mention was, what kind of person would come to a meeting like this, right? Because it's not, it's not a church service in a sense. It's not a training. It's not, a declaration of any kind. Well, it's kind of a declaration, but so it is a declaration and a transformation and all these things. But what is it? And so, in thinking about what kind of person would come, I thought about a few things. One, it's a person who's committed to a conversation and committed to understanding that the conversation really has to happen in person. That, you're not having congressional meetings on Facebook chat, right? They're meeting in person with whatever resources they have, regardless of how much they have, they're meeting in person. So it's commitment to a conversation. It's also, I think, a commitment to learning how to deal with ideas and to allow an idea to come to fruition as opposed to being driven by a personality, right? Because again, charisma is like agreement. Just because a person has charisma doesn't mean that they're actually going to do anything for you. I mean, for example, we could take the current crisis in Newark with the water, right? Very charisma. I mean, you can't get into a lot of these positions of power without some kind of charisma, right? Most of the time. And yet there's serious problems that are not addressed. And your charisma is not solving the problem. What's going to solve the problem is people who are committed to and understand the ideas that are driving their lives and making a commitment to live that way and to follow it through. And so those are two characteristics that I want to draw out. Person committed to the conversation, to showing up, to understanding that it's important to be there. That by coming, you are changed. By coming, you are coming into agreement with that which you know is better, that which you know is life-affirming. And I think it's also a demonstration of care, because it's making a statement that I'm going to have this conversation because I know that it is in the long-term best interest of everyone involved. It's not for me alone. It's for me in my recognition of my participation in a collective, while at the same time not denying, my personal needs, etc. So those are some of the things I want to share on this kind of first day of whatever this service is, And, I'm thinking about, listen, at the end of the day, Triumph the Church in New Age is really about creating a new culture. And so there's all kinds of aspects of culture that would need to be addressed. So for example, what kind of songs do you sing? Right? If you're not singing songs in the classical sense, what are you singing about? Right? Not an easy question. Because I know, for example, I played in many worship service, and there's something that happens in the music which is fantastic, right? I mean, just you're gone, you're someplace else, and then it's like, okay, how can I take that experience and actually assign these life-affirming actions to it? Because I sing the song, and it's at the end of the day, its difference from, say, Rihanna is that there's a different kind of peace in it. But does it drive culture in the direction that it needs to go? Right? I mean,